Hello all, welcome to One Pitch Catch. We're coming to you a day after Rohit Sharma announced his retirement from Test cricket uh, with basically immediate effect. That essentially means that he's only going to be playing ODIs for India for whatever the remaining time frame is. Uh, we wanted to just spend a little bit of time talking about his retirement and maybe who the next possible captain would be for Tests. His timing is a little weird. What do you think, Ganesh? Because like literally, I mean, he was on the BCCI's retainers list,
A
effective
plus.
until September, and in the topmost category, yeah, until September 30th or something like that. And then he had a interview with Michael Clark around a month ago, where he was very gung ho about going to England and using the new ball attack that India would have, looking forward to Jasprit Bumrah recovering. He was talking about how it's a challenge playing in all those conditions, etc. And I think he had a very good tour of England in that 2021 series also. So all the more motivated. But then now you're seeing him retiring from a format which, I mean, on the face of it, yeah, technically he opted out of the last Test match he played. He didn't play, saying I'm not good enough. To be in the 11 or in the top six batsmen. But it just seems weird. What do you see?
Yes, Jaga. In fact, initially, yesterday, earlier reports, rumors, reports were in the lines that Rohit Sharma is going to be sacked as captain for the tests. But then, in an hour or so, or less than a couple of hours, this news came up saying that he is hanged his boots from Test cricket. So that is something. Probably he was going to be sacked as captain, or he was going on probably not even going to be picked for the England tour.
Mm.
Which would not be wrong considering the way
Yeah.
his scores have been in Test cricket of late. So probably he didn't want to go through that humiliation and he decided to call it a day. Like you said, the A plus contract and talking to Michael Clark and looking forward to going to England and all those things recently don't match with what has happened
Yeah.
yesterday. So I think it is
He was
probably
pushed, basically.
force pushed and BCCI spoke to him. I mean, sometimes we have known that BCCI is not known to speaking to people when they are
I
getting
think
dropped.
Virat had that issue maybe a few years ago. I think he was basically told just before his press
Yeah.
conference or something.
So
I
those kind
remember.
of things have happened with multiple, a lot of even the lesser players. A lot of people have come
Yeah,
out
yeah.
in interview later saying that we were not informed about our drop, why we were dropped, why we were all those things we've heard from multiple people.
I mean,
Uh,
I
so
think 1979 or 80,
mm,
Venkatraman was the captain, and he came to know in the aircraft that he was
yes.
being dropped.
Yes, the next
So
match he
a
was dropped.
lot
He
of
was
odd
captain
things
and
have
then he
happened.
was dropped. I mean, Indian cricket is known for all these things over there, but I think things have gotten a little better
Yeah,
when you compare the Venkatraghavans and
yeah,
Gavaskar times now, I think, especially with social media and all those things. But I think it is kind of a force push for Rohit,
yeah,
is what I also feel. But
So
I
what do
mean,
you think
going
will happen
forward to
next?
that, if Rohit is out, who do you think? I mean, a lot of people are saying Gill is the front runner.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that, Jaga?
I don't know if Shubman Gill has completely established himself in the Test 11. I mean, I think he's had a few good series. He's had a few not so good series. Always he's been a complete treat to watch. It's almost like in the Rohit Sharma mold where he's so good to watch at the crease. In fact, if you remember, after the first test in Australia, Rohit was back and he opted out of that one, saying, I don't want to play because I don't want Shubman to get dropped. So Shubman has always seems to have been in that periphery of, okay, does he get a long run? Does he not get a long run? It seems like the BCCI folks are looking at investing in him from a longer term perspective. I mean, he's the captain of GT, so that they've been able to get him some leadership experience. I think he's led India in some maybe ODIs or T20s. I forget.
T20s
So
in a Zimbabwe tour, I
yeah.
think, here
Ah,
and there.
okay. Yeah, correct. The
Mm.
Zimbabwe tour where Abhishek Sharma and all those folks
Yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
their debut.
Yeah, and
Okay.
immediately after winning the T20 World Cup,
Right,
completely
right.
no, that's kind of a theme.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, I think BCCI wants to invest on him as a captain and as a player for the long term. I also personally don't think that he's established himself as a test player yet. See, in the ODI format, he's bossing the
Yeah.
ODI format, I would say, except for the T20s. Also, T20 doesn't play much for India because
Yeah.
there's a long list of people who play for
Correct.
India,
Yeah.
and probably he's also happy not playing T20s for India. I think to get some rest time in between the amount of tests and ODIs and IPL and all the things that he plays.
Plus, it is
Uh,
difficult to switch between formats also,
yeah,
right?
formats,
So,
and I think it's, I mean, and also in Test cricket he started opening, and suddenly he wanted to
yeah.
move to number three when Cheteshwar Pujara
Correct.
was out of the reckoning
Correct.
at all. So he wants to be at number three for all his life, I think. I don't think he's established himself here. Of course, there has been some good scores, and like you said, any four that he hits is a delight to watch. His batting is in a different level, but has he converted it into numbers? Not yet. And I don't know. Um, I mean, there are a lot of other names come up in terms of Bumrah, who was captain in Rohit Sharma's absence regularly. I mean, in fact, he was the
Yeah.
one who won the Perth Test as captain.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
But I don't think if it is wise to invest in Bumrah as a captain for the long term because he's injury prone. I don't know if you
Yeah.
last all the five tests in England. Even talking about the
Yeah.
immediate series, I don't know if you last all the five tests in England given his injury concerns. Uh, and also, he may not be playing, not be required to play many of the home tests.
Mm.
So they may have, I mean, like you have multiple format captains, you may want to have a home captain and away captain also. That may not be an ideal situation. I think India is generally not for multiple captains, though
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, they have kind of embraced it
At least two.
reluctantly, I would say.
Yeah. Correct.
So so that way, I think they would probably give it to Gill. Of course, the other names that could be in the reckoning, I think, are, I mean, Ashwin missed a chance, I think.
Yeah. He definitely seems
So,
to have
so
missed a chance now.
he missed a chance, I think. And maybe KL, but KL has never been a permanent in the team in any of the formats. We don't
Yeah.
know whether KL is going to be announced in the squad or not. I mean, how
Or
much
not.
ever runs he scores, that has been the case. Um,
Yeah. In fact, until the first couple of tests in Australia, he may have been
yeah,
dropped also.
yeah, exactly. And the one long shot we always, I mean, I at least personally, I always had a thought was Rishabh Pant could be future Test captain for India. But I think he lost it with that car accident he had.
Okay.
After that, he lost in the queue, I think, probably. But I think his name is one of the first you pencil in when you're writing a Test 11
That's
at this
true.
point of time
Yeah.
still. But still, captaincy could be a little far fetched for Rishabh Pant at this point of time. So, if the rumors are true, Gill could be the front runner. Do you see anybody else in the
I was just
reckoning, Jaga?
thinking maybe they'll ask Virat. Uh,
Don't think he's going to take it
just for
slow,
a couple
Jaga.
of years or something like that, so that if Shubman is the chosen one eventually, then it gives Shubman a couple of years of being vice captain, and then he takes over. Because, I mean, don't, I doubt if Virat is going to retire right now. Especially, I don't think the BCCI will want a situation where Rohit and Virat have both retired at the same time. Plus, you lost Ashwin a few months ago, and then you never know. I mean, Jadeja is probably also thinking or whatever, right? So I think that the loss of so many senior players will hurt. So I do see Virat being around or hanging around, depending upon his form, for at least a year or two. And he's very fit. Plus, I think he did show in Australia that he can score the runs when certain things come into the picture. I would,
I think,
apart from
I
that
think,
Perth
I,
second innings, he didn't do anything. But
yes.
I think they will still use that to say he's back in form. He only scored 100, like, I don't know, 6 innings ago or something like that. So I was just, as a long shot, in terms of just grooming Shubman to be a captain over a longer period of just giving him a little bit of a runway, I was just thinking that could be one option.
I think this has given Rohit Sharma's retirement has given a lot of breathing space for Virat. I think. I mean,
Yeah,
though BCCI and selectors would not take a big strong call on Virat, but I think this one at least one senior should be there and all gives him a lot of
correct.
breathing space in spite of his pathetic form over the last 5 to 10 or even more Test matches. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back even longer, right? Because I was looking at some numbers a few weeks or months ago, except for like maybe a couple of series in the last 4, 5 years, he's pretty much done nothing.
I mean, in fact,
So,
when look at the last two series which have been hurting us the most, the New Zealand at
yeah,
home and Australia away, both he has not scored anything. I mean,
yeah,
except the Perth century, of course. We keep talking about that,
yeah,
but otherwise there is nothing. But like I said, he is happy that Rohit is retired, so he has to be the
definitely.
senior pro carrying the
Yeah.
juniors ahead into the and handing it over to them.
But do
I
you
don't
see
think he will
him?
be willing to take up captaincy. I don't
Hmm.
think he will be willing to take up captaincy. Maybe push him to be uh, vice captain also doesn't suit well. Maybe being the
That he won't be vice captain.
no no he won't be. But I think in one of the games somewhere he captained in
No,
between for a while.
the last test when
Hmm.
Bumrah went off in the second innings, he was basically leading
Ah,
the
yes.
on the field.
He was leading for a while. So those kind of things he will do and help Shubman Gill.
Yeah, okay.
And I also think he also values Shubman Gill, rightly so. So I think he
Yeah.
will give a helping hand to Shubman Gill. And if BCCI goes with Shubman Gill, let's see. We should know. I don't know if we will know
No,
it
sir.
in very
Yeah,
soon. Maybe after the IPL only when they announce the squad, we will know. Or I don't
yeah,
think they will announce a captain before announcing the squad. I think it will be go hand
yeah,
in hand
doubtful.
with together. So let's see.
Cool. Yeah. Great. Then let's go back to the other small series that's going on. That's basically the IPL. So we had a very interesting KKR CSK match yesterday. CSK basically just edged KKR out. They sort of spoiled KKR's party now. It's making it a little bit more difficult for them to qualify.
Lot of
I
permutation
kind of
combinations come
feel
into the
that.
picture.
Sorry.
If KKR has to go, there is a lot of permutation and combinations that
Yeah,
has to come
exactly.
into
Yeah,
the picture. And also, yeah, I
and
think
then
yesterday's win was more of a shocking win for CSK fans, more than a shocking loss to KKR fans.
yeah,
That's
I
how I
don't think
looked
they
at.
expected to win.
Yeah, I don't think even after the Deval Brevis innings,
Yeah,
though when
basically.
the
Yeah.
target and the almost it became run a ball or slightly more than
Yeah,
run a
correct. He
ball. Also,
almost halved it or something like that.
they were very doubtful.
Yeah.
But I think
Anyway, good for them.
Dhoni and Dubey batted with little bit of sense
Yeah,
to drag it to play out Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan so
correct.
that it becomes easier.
Right.
I think common sense prevailed there that way. But if you when we talk about common sense prevailing, I think the previous game which MI lost to GT, there are a couple of common senses didn't prevail. I feel.
Mm.
I mean, it was an excellent game.
Yeah,
Bumrah
definitely.
showed why he's been talked about as the bowling Bradman by some of the Aussies also.
Yeah,
Um, it was stop-start game with the rain. I think first of all, Mumbai should not have scored 155. At least they were 20 runs short on that
Mm.
wicket. I feel, especially after the pathetic catching by GT. So
Yeah,
they
it's like
dropped.
they were dropping, I think, one every over or every
Yeah,
couple of overs, something
yeah.
like that.
So that way, they should not have let uh, themselves score 155. It should have been 175, 180. So that was a letdown. And with the rain and all those things, and again this matchup, everybody is getting caught up in this matchup muddle. Common sense, like I so said, common sense takes a back seat when it comes to matchups. Yes, matchups are important. I think are important definitely, but I think that sometimes it doesn't. Sherfain Rutherford, they bowled Will Jacks. Will Jacks gave away two boundaries, two fours and a
Yeah, yeah.
six, which
15 runs or
eventually
something
added
like
up
that.
to 15 runs. That kind of tilted the balance a little bit.
And it
Even the
gave them the momentum, right?
DL scores and all those things make take a hit
Correct.
in
Yeah.
that time. So I think that was not required for Will Jacks. Already Mumbai has had an advantage, slight advantage, I would say, with all commiserations to Corbin Bosch getting injured.
Mm.
Okay, so they have got Aswani Kumar along with Karan Sharma, who was impact. So why bowl Will Jacks and give
Yeah.
away that runs? So that was unwanted. And again, when you the last when people thought that Mumbai has already won with the DLS, then they had to play one more over.
But then they had to come back to play.
I think Deepak Chahar is never a death over bowler.
He's
Never
a
a death
power
over
play bowler.
bowler. And especially when you have 15 runs to defend, I don't think he is the bowler to go to, especially with Hardik Pandya having overs. Hardik Pandya, yes, he bowled a lot of wides and no balls in the 1 over he bowled. But still, 1 over 15, Hardik Pandya would have been a much scarier bowler for GT batsmen. And GT batsmen, it's not that Butler and Gill were batting there.
Exactly, yeah.
So they would have
Just
been
Tewatia
troubled.
and
Yeah.
who else is there?
And Gerald Coetzee.
Yeah, Koitsu was there, yeah.
So those things. I mean, Hardik could
Plus,
have bowled.
Hardik had bowled the last over to South Africa in the T20 World Cup final. So he knows these things.
Hardik is a much better
Yeah.
uh,
Bowler.
that kind of a situation bowler. Okay,
I
that when
think
1 over
this
15.
sense.
Yeah, and so Deepak Chahar. I mean, every team, even CSK last year for the few years, and even MI have been using Deepak Chahar as to bowl 1-3-5. In fact, this year also
Right.
he's bowled some of the 1-3-5-7. He's bowled for Mumbai. In the first 7 overs he finishes his
Mm.
quota. So those things are. But I don't think that was a wise decision. Um, but that's it. That's it. And
And I
MI
think
have to win the remaining two matches to find a place in the top two now.
the breaking news of that day was that Sai Kishore got to bowl before the 18th over. So
That was
uh,
great, and he picked up
I'm sure he'll be
Sky
thankful to the captain and the coach for allowing that to happen.
and he thanked and I think they were saving him for the MI game, which is a big game, and he
And
picked
he got two
Sky
very important wickets. I think it was Surya
Sky and
Kumar
Hardik.
Yadav and Hardik.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was very good. That way they
Okay.
did a very good job.
What's the next game? That was the rained out SRH DC match. I think DC just escaped. They 130 for 7. They managed. SRH should have chased it down. It also
Power
meant that
SRH.
SRH were
Power
knocked out.
SRH. Finally, they bowled well
Come
and they
on.
restricted the team to 133. But
On the knockout.
the rain gods didn't like it. It didn't happen. And the one
Okay,
other
and then
game was Punjab beating LSG, which was pretty much
right.
easy. The one thing that stood out from the game for me was Prabsimran has evolved as a batsman. I feel
Hmm.
over the last 2 years, though he has an IPL century earlier. Overall, his batting, if you look at it, he's a power play. See, first 6-7 overs, he scores
Right.
30, 40 quick runs and gets out. But in the last, especially in the last 4 or 5 games, not even in the start of this year, he has evolved and carrying on to make the 70s, 80s, and 90s,
Hmm.
which is good news for Punjab. And that became an easy win for them the moment the top three in the LSG batting failed.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Great. Today we have another Punjab game. I think it's Punjab versus DC.
Yeah. In
Apparently there's
Dharamshala,
some rain. So
in
it's
Dharamshala,
there's
amidst
some
all the
rain. So
tensions, let's see how
yeah.
it goes.
Great. Thank you all. We'll come back again in a few days with yet another edition and episode. Please do subscribe and watch our videos and leave your comments. Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Bye.